This is Matthew Banever, owner of Bards.
And I'm Melissa Oddo, owner of deMelis Atelier.
And this is the Fabric of America. Welcome back, episode 2. Oh my gosh, I can't believe we're here. But first, Melissa, what are you wearing?
This wild kimono situation that I've got going on.
Love it.
Thank you. Okay, so because we both know that we can't not tell a story with our fun clothes.
Obviously.
So this is a piece from Alice and Olivia. It's actually reversible. So I get double wear out of it when I want to. No, I love it. So the story behind this was that, I don't have a lot of money to always be throwing around on clothing, but I went through this like Alice and Olivia phase. I really just like their style. Generally, it vibes with me. And I saw some cool stuff, and it was, I think, right before COVID. And I ordered a bunch of things that I could not afford with the full intention of like, I'm going to try these on and make like a stylist video, and then I'm going to send them back, which is exactly what I did.
Yeah.
But in doing so, I knew like stuff I liked. I knew some stuff that like did or didn't fit me and a few things like that. And this was one of those items where like I had it on and I wanted to keep it so badly.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't justify the expense to myself at the time. And so I returned it. I waited and I kind of kept an eyeball on it. And then it went on clearance.
Yeah.
And I was like, yoink.
Yeah.
It will be mine. It at the time, because it's so loud, it was a piece that I felt like was a frivolous thing. Like I wouldn't get a ton of wear out of, but it is a nice piece. And the fact that it's reversible, like the lines and everything on it are really well clean finished. I know you'll appreciate this when the things match up, the stripes and the patterns and stuff. So I think that the sewing level of quality is there. I don't honestly wear it that much, but I do like to like bust it out.
Nor you shouldn't. Like it's a nice. You
can't always have this.
Yeah, it's a statement piece.
Thank you.
Thank you. I love it. I love it. Now,
I appreciate it.
What's this like stagecoach?
Okay, so this was my grandmother's. She passed away in January, but one of my like core memories of her is she had this pendant on a long chain. Yeah. And she would wear it all the time. Yeah. And I found out, actually, I was wondering what the pieces were in it. It's coral, different pieces of coral.
Oh, really? Not jade?
Nope.
Wow.
Nope. And it's just got like all this really cool, like little dainty gold details. It makes it cool. The wheels move. It makes a clicky sound. I just love it. It's like such a sentimental piece for me. I can't. I love it.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
And your jeans and top?
My top is from Marshall. I know, flip the table. I'm sorry. But I'll tell you this. This is years old.
Okay.
Years old. Yep. It is a little pilly, like probably more than I would like it in terms of quality control. But I have this shirt in a V-neck that I'm wearing. I have it in a crew neck. I have it in black and I have it in white.
Now and
I also have it in beige.
Yes. And this is something that I think is an important point to make is that sustainability. And we're going to dive into this because sustainability could talk for hours about.
Yes, we could.
But people think there's a misconception that sustainability is a new topic where now that I need something, I'm going to look and see if this item checks all the boxes on sustainability.
Yep.
That's bullshit. That's
greenwashing, all the things. Yep.
Sustainability is a nonsense word. We can dive into this. It is important. It is a topic, but it's not a list of boxes you can check on a new item. It's something that's past, present, and future. So that top, being from Marshall's, is been getting years of wear and tear. And I mean like wear and tear. Like it's really rough. It's not great. Nope. There's pills.
Thanks for your judgment call here. Okay, I get it.
But it's seen, you wearing it for so long makes it more sustainable than just buying something new from some place that might check all the boxes. Right. Now, I have a shirt from Express that I got 14 years ago.
Yes, I remember you telling me about this.
I wore this on Monday, a week ago. That shirt is technically more sustainable than me making a new shirt for myself now. So I'm glad that you're wearing that top.
It's a spectrum,
yes,
right?
It is a spectrum. It's not all just right and wrong. We can't just sit here and be like, yes, this is this new top from this local business and blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Like, it's not about that. It's not about going into your wardrobe and just like purging everything and starting new.
Right.
That's not what we want to talk about. What we want to talk about
That's wasteful too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Throwing a bunch of stuff in the trash or landfill
absolutely.
somewhere. Yep.
It's like, get stuff that you're going to get use out of, that you're going to wear a lot. That's just, because we all know, we've all had those pants that are just, I just needed a pair of pants. So I got them. They're cheap.
Yep.
They don't last long, but they fit,
Yep.
Like, that's the stuff we want to get rid of.
Yeah.
That's I just needed a shirt, so I got it. It doesn't fit great, but whatever.
Yeah.
Those are the decisions we want to get away. But you love that top. It fits
love
well.
The shirt.
I see you in it all the time.
You do.
Yes. Yeah, but like, that's good. That's a conscious, good
These
decision.
are my perfect basics.
Yes, exactly. Like, that's a very sustainable move.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
All right.
Denim.
My denim. Okay, so my jeans are from Pistola Denim.
Ooh, what's that?
It's a company, so I honestly don't know much about them at all, other than they were fed to me in an advertisement after I saw the Barbie movie.
Okay, wow.
And the reason they were fed to me is because they made the jumpsuit, which was kind of this like cotton, almost a denim, not quite, jumpsuit that Greta Gerwig supposedly wore while filming the whole, while directing the whole movie. And so if you see some pictures of her on the set, she's got like this little short sleeved, it looks like a very utilitarian, like Rosie the Riveter type of jumpsuit. Yeah. So they fed me that ad, of course, right after the Barbie movie. And I was like, I will comply. Yeah. And so I bought the pink jumpsuit and I love it. And after I bought it too, I had immediate regret. And I'm like, what am I doing? This is going to be so bad. Jumpsuit's never going to fit off the bat. No way. It came in. It was nice materials. It fit. And I was really like, okay, I'm going to file this company away in my brain space. And so I did. And when I was in the market for like a trouser jean, I went looking on their site and I really liked the selection. So I bought these pants. They're called the Lana jean. But I bought them in what I would think would be my size, which is a 28, because that's the size of my waist. Yeah. Now y'all know. And when I put them on, they do have a little stretch to them, but they were actually a little bit big. 27s were sold out. And I wound up eyeballing because they'd been gone. They still haven't come back in stock. I'm like, I really want and need, like, the one, that piece that I want for my wardrobe is a nice piece of trouser denim. So I went and I was doing a little Google, and they came up through Shopbop, but through Amazon, which was a weird thing for me. So they were fulfilled by Shopbop. They are the Pistola denim. They came in just like the old pair. So they're not like a weird knockoff, but they came vis-a-vis Amazon, which was very strange.
Well, that's something, that's probably another episode we could talk about, is that, like, how do companies
distribute?
What do companies look like on the background? Because I know that for years I thought, okay, Joseph A. Bank owns its factory and they do all their own distribution. And I was like,
nope. That's not the way it works.
That's not how any of this works.
I mean, I wonder if Shopbop just needs a way to tick up on the SEO search,
absolutely.
So they just partner with Amazon.
There's a lot of businesses now that I know that sometimes people are like, well, it's a small business certified on Amazon. And I'm just like,
what does that exactly mean?
Yeah, I'm like,
episode 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Yes, exactly. We can save that for another
time.
I've just, I'm not as caffeine infused.
Oh, okay. You're on the decline now?
Yes, exactly.
That's like caffeine just flows through your veins. Those of you who don't know Matt just literally eats, sleeps, and breathes coffee. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Like,
I was talking about
his veins run with black coffee.
It's so true. I broke my coffee pot last week on Monday.
Devastating.
Actually, no, on Sunday a week ago. I remember it fondly. And I was
not fondly.
Yeah, it was terrible. I had my coffee pot in my sink, and I had a giant stein that had rolled off my drying rack and smashed into my coffee pot. Now, here's the thing that kills me. In a fit of rage, in blind fury, I felt like like in Lord of the Rings when the guy like lights his son on fire and he's all upset. I was just like so mad. So I threw the pot away, and then immediately I grabbed the machine and I'm like, well, you're of no use to me either, and threw that all away also.
That was not very sustainable of you.
It wasn't until 5 days later when somebody was like, I gotta, like, let me buy you a new pot. And I was like,
you fool. You really didn't know that?
I was too upset.
I'm on my third coffee pot with
too
our
upset.
pot. We literally probably broke ours the same time as you, and our new coffee pot just came yesterday.
Yeah,
Savage.
I know.
I'm so disappointed.
I was so, literally, when somebody said, I'll get you a new pot, I was
all right, that's it. Podcast canceled. We're done.
I was done. I was so upset.
Flip tables, walk away.
But yeah, so now, but I've been waiting because I'm going to go to Cook Shop Plus in West Hartford, family-owned business, friends of mine for years. I have a gift card to them because everybody knows I love Cook Shop, and I got a gift card to Cook Shop, so I'm gonna rage there and get a nice coffee maker. But I've been going on a week of no coffee. In the morning I go out later and I get it. But yes, I know. But enough about your outfit.
Yeah.
Let's talk about my outfit.
Let's talk about your outfit.
Yes.
Casual Matt today.
Very casual.
What is? I'm confused. I mean, you look great. Don't get me wrong. I'm just so confused. You don't have a jacket on? What is this?
It feels weird. I feel vulnerable. Yeah.
You are, sir.
Yes. This is a safe space, right? Yeah. So the shirt and pant are both Bards, and one of the main points that I'm always trying to get across is that custom clothing isn't dress. It's not a suit. It's not, it doesn't mean clothing for work. So I made this shirt because I love the fabric. It's like a brushed twill.
Nice.
I feel how soft it is.
Oh, cool. It feels very flannelly.
Yeah, exactly. It's brushed. So it's just got this soft edge to it, which makes it a little bit more casual. So sometimes I'll wear it with a suit, and sometimes I'll dress it down and wear it with like jeans or something tucked, like left untucked. Because a lot of times people ask me like, "Oh, can you leave it short so I can, leave it like untuck it, those untucked shirts?" And I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like it drives me nuts.
Does that make your eye twitch?
It does. It drives me absolute
nonsense.
I just see red. It vexes me deeply. So yes, I can, since it's custom, I can make it any length I want it to be. And so I make it the perfect length that I can tuck in, leave out, or whatever. So I love this shirt. But then this corduroy also it's a 5-pocket pant, which is really new for me to start to make. But it's a corduroy. Corduroy is huge this year. Oh. It's like every time I go to the trade show, everybody's got corduroy.
It. Yeah.
Thin whale, thick whale, and the whale is like the little lines.
Yeah, how thick it is. Yeah. I'm a thin whale gal myself.
Yeah. So I was like, well, I kind of dig it. I don't know if I can pull it off, but I like it. I don't want to say I would never. My first option wouldn't be to wear it for a suit.
Sure.
But let me get it as a 5-pocket pant. Something I can wear.
You could put a sport coat with it if you wanted to. Exactly. It looks like it's a good versatile
it's from the fabric is from Dorme, which is all made in London.
Oh, cool.
And then I had the pants made in New York, and the shirt was made in New Jersey in my 2 factories. The belt is from a boutique in West Hartford. The underwear is from Huckberry, made in America from Flint and Tinder. The boots I got from a customer. Those boots
are cool. I've seen you in those boots a lot.
I wear these all the time.
Those are very cool. Two-tone.
Yeah, they didn't fit him, so I bought them off of him. And then my socks were a Christmas gift.
I'm upset that your socks are not like a Bob's Burger sock. So you guys our listener doesn't know Matt, but Matt shows up in like Bob's Burgers funky scene socks every single time. Absolutely. So the fact that you are like a little buttoned up today, like you're casual,
I know,
up top and business down there, like I'm confused.
I know.
You're a weird anomaly today.
It is a nightmare. I should have gotten
it's just a nightmare.
I should have worn my Bob's Burger socks.
Be consistent,
outside,
will you? Come on, let's follow the flow.
Boots. Yeah.
You're out of control.
But today we want to talk about
wedding industry.
The wedding industry.
We say it with such love and yet with such fire and fury.
As every wedding vendor would attest.
I think so.
It is
the love-hate.
Yes. It's just
or it's a love confusion.
It's a behemoth of a topic. It's a incredible industry. It's so multifaceted.
So many angles, so many details, major and minor.
Yeah, every single store that I've worked at I've seen a different side of it. And
you have a long history in wedding industry as well.
Yeah. So when I was at Express, I handled a couple weddings. It was way more wedding guests.
Okay.
So people attending weddings would come to Express, get, a vest or suit or something
Dress
something
shirt,
to
whatever.
go. And it was always, I've got a wedding this weekend. I just need a shirt.
Yeah, picking it up.
It was always the last.
Yep.
I did work with a couple wedding couples, and the guy, people just like not a lot of money, so they just wanted some kind of cheap suit. And so that was interesting. And I was like very surprised. I was like, wow, so I'm like helping your wedding.
Right.
And I was working at Express.
Yeah.
I was like, this feels like too much responsibility.
That is an angle I would not have thought about.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was
suits,
just like,
but that's true.
Yeah, it was very much like, I don't feel qualified to be making the decision about what you're going to wear on your wedding.
Okay.
And then when I moved from there to Joseph A. Bank, Joseph A. Bank had 1 million sales when I was working there. And it was always like buy one, get 3 free or something like that.
Yep.
So a lot of times wedding parties would come in and they'd have like 8 guys and they would buy 2 suits and get the other ones for free. It was genius.
That's very smart.
Yeah.
We did, I don't remember if it was Joseph Banks or if it was Men's Warehouse. I think they merged at some point or what have you. But my husband, when we got, what's that?
When did you get married?
We got married in 2014.
That was
2013. Oh my God, sorry. Wow. 2013.
That was before
going on 11 years. Before the merger. Okay. So it was one of them. I don't recall which, but at the time it just so happened we found a really nice, like it was a Vera Wang slim fit tux for my husband.
That was Men's Warehouse.
Okay. So, because you guys didn't carry the Vera. Yeah. Okay. So we were at Men's Warehouse, and then it just so happened that my husband's friend was getting married the month after us and was going to use the same tux.
Yeah.
Just with a different shirt. So we wound up purchasing the tux, and we did something similar. We actually brought in like an old suit of his. It was like a trade-in thing. Yeah. And we got that tux for like peanuts. Yeah. I remember us go, well, he needs a tux for life. And and listen, we have altered it. We've had it like all these years. He still can wear it. It was a fantastic, it wasn't even a major investment. Like we probably could have gotten a way better tux later. But for what it is and was, and we've talked about sustainability and the longevity of clothing, like it is certainly more than served its purpose. But we got that nice steep discount for a little trade-in, a little buy a couple shirts, do this, do that. Yeah.
That's wild.
Traded for a suit.
Yeah. So I was there, and it was definitely a lot more of just, and then we also did tuxedo rentals. I remember this one couple. So when I did the tuxedo rentals, the couple would come in, they would choose the outfit that they wanted. And then after that, for months leading up to it, a groomsman would come in and just say, hey, I'm with such and such wedding party. And I would measure them, and then the tux would come in. They'd never seen the tux or knew anything about it. Yep. So some of them would come out of the fitting room and be like, oh man, this is sick. Like, can I actually buy this?
Yeah.
But one couple, the guy was from like Waterbury or something like that. He comes in, total like blue collar. He had like a lip packed. He was just like, God. All right. He picks this one tuxedo that I've had my eye on for years, because I was like, who is going to rent this thing? Okay. It was a black tuxedo with a camo lapel.
Oh,
and camo stripes down the sides.
All right.
And as the groomsmen came in, each one would come out of the fitting room and be like, what the hell is this thing? They were so like, I'm not wearing this. They were so angry.
Really?
And the groom was like, this is hilarious.
This is my style. And I'm just doing it.
It was so wild to watch. Yeah, certain choices. But it was very much
like... You say the same thing for the ladies and the bridesmaid debate sometimes with what the gals have to wear. And
But at Banks, it was very much like mass produced. Yep. And it was very much like, I need 4 of the same suits. I need 10 of the same suits. It was very much... easy,
like a machine.
Mass quantity. Everybody's wearing navy. Everybody's wearing gray. There was very little like style leeway.
Sure.
And then
kind of in a cookie cutter.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Like this is just where
pick the shirt, pick the tie, pick
maybe
a pocket square, and that's
exactly.
it.
Exactly. Yeah. It was very simple. It was very easy.
Yep.
And then when I moved to the boutique store, it opened up a little bit more to the groomsmen would get a suit of all right quality, and then the groom would usually get something like custom and design it himself and really make it his own. And I got to work with couples like a lot more in depth, and
probably saw them a bit more, right? They would have to come back more for fittings.
Definitely got to know them more. They would bring me swatches of what the bridesmaids were wearing, and I would try to source ties and all of this.
Things.
So it was very interesting to be like, oh, so there's like a lot I could do with this. And that was really my opening. So I think until that point, I'd probably worked with a couple hundred wedding parties. And it was, at the boutique store, it was much more custom focused. I was always pushing custom and being like, the groom should get that. And then, the groomsmen can do one of these off the rack suits that we have. And it kind of showed me the flexibility and who wanted what and how. And then the biggest takeaway from me started to be, well, why is the groom's suit this like afterthought? Why is it there's so much focus on the wedding dress? And
because there should be.
And they're never going to wear it again.
I know. You're not wrong.
And why is the men's suit, where every single time I talked to the groom, it was always, I like this because I can wear it for years after. Why is the price and value difference reversed? There's so much money. So much money is on the dress, and yet everybody knows.
I hope the listener's mind was just blown, because we've even talked about this, but even hearing it again, I'm like just thinking, it is so true.
And I am always hesitant to bring up this point because now I'm so involved in the wedding industry and I don't want to step on any toes.
Right.
But facts are facts.
Although if you are a deMelis Atelier client, or you don't have to be in state, this was something this was why I came up with this idea for we call it the Bridal Bomber. So we have a trademark in progress, and the idea is a bomber style jacket made from your wedding dress. And the whole point of it is that everybody pretty much all the time is a one use. You wear your wedding dress. Once in a blue moon, you get somebody who will cut it a little short, like a knee or an ankle length and that sort of thing. Not all dresses are conducive to that either. So this was a means by which we could reinvent the garment so that someone could continue to enjoy it for years to come. And so we do these jackets. We've been getting a lot of clients lately who are remaking their mom's dresses.
That's awesome.
Who are using it to either make a party dress, we've done a few dressing robes lately. I had someone who actually wants to turn their mom's dress into a bridal bomber. So it's going to be kind of this funky, outlandish, really cool, unique piece. And you can pair it with jeans and a white t-shirt. That's the cool part about it from the feminine perspective is, you get a little bit more mileage. And one thing that we do here at the shop is our town has partnered with Bay State Textiles, which is, I believe, out of Massachusetts. And we get a stipend. We get money back for how much textile recycling we do as a town.
That's so cool.
So it's very cool. So we have several drop-off sites in town. One is right around the corner from here. I bag up all of our fabric scraps and it goes to Bay State Textiles, and then the town gets money back. So at least if we have to have fabric waste, we know it's going somewhere that they'll do something with it.
That's awesome.
So we're trying our best.
And I think that is
so true that the guys get more mileage than the gals do.
Right. So many people are like, I'm going to get a navy suit because that's something I'll actually use. And they'll wear it for 20 something years. And especially the ones
even like I said, we got Jeff a tux and he's worn the tux now several times. And he didn't have a tux before. We've gotten invited to black tie weddings. You need a tux.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think that there's a changing of the dynamic of where the importance should lie. And I think that there's bigger trends that are happening right now that are reflective of how are we going to make the most use out of all of this? And now with Bards, I've worked with maybe 10 or 15 couples, and I'm doing a woman's dinner jacket right now for a big photo shoot with Sarah Brehan.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, by the time this one comes out, this episode comes out, the shoot will have already happened.
Oh, yay.
I did a custom suit for a friend of mine who is transgender, and it was actually his 5th year wedding anniversary.
Cool.
And when he got married, he looked very different than now.
Yep.
And what's more, this might be controversial to say, but like a suit is a very masculine identifying
It's just
thing.
traditionally a masculine thought,
and so
right?
him getting a suit was very much like this, the person I am, and the person I've always felt like.
Gotcha.
And on the inside of the suit, I put a bunch of pictures of them as a couple together.
Cool.
So they had a nice 5-year anniversary, renewed their vows, and Andy from Muse in Branford made the dress for that.
Nice.
Which is incredible. It's very much like a bohemian, alternative, non-traditional, I think is the terminology that people are using. And then I've done some weddings where two I've actually done where the groom has come to me and they've asked, where should I get the groomsmen suits? And I'm like, well, have you ever heard of JT Gamo or Zonners or something?
Yep.
And
nice
I've
local
gone
guys.
with them. These are local shops, family owned. I've gone with the groom to the shop, brought like his fabric
and helped style them.
Been like, well, here's what the groom's wearing. What do you have to match it? Gave him a whole all-inclusive package. So the guys, the groomsmen bought suits that were $200-$300, or they rented tux for $200 or something like that, and the groom got his suit from me for whatever he wanted to pay. So it's nice that now in this world I can do all
multiple things. Yeah,
I've had some where I write messages under the collar.
That's
like
cool.
A very important
something personal,
something
or
personal,
quote something.
A lot of times people put like the date of their wedding
Sure.
on the inside. So for me, it's a very personalized aspect, and I love that there's like more green colors right now. I'm actually doing a tuxedo for somebody. A guy found me. He wanted a tuxedo. He's from Massachusetts.
Okay.
And he called up Nicole, a bridal gown maker.
Nicole Wazark.
Yep. And Nicole Wazark designs. She's amazing. And she referred me. So he came down and he wants a black tuxedo, and the lapel is going to be like a green floral.
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Did you know that green is the most popular bridesmaid color right now?
It is also trending as like a very popular suit color right now.
I'm not surprised. I feel like it's so sharp and like rich looking. All those kind of like, they call them like jewel tones, like that kind of emerald, like deep green.
What month did you get married?
I got married in September.
Oh, wow.
We did navy blue.
Adopter.
I was an early adopter of September. Yep. Yeah. And we had like pretty warm weather, all things considered. Yeah. Now I think that just weather patterns have changed. We were just talking about this, that October is now one of the most popular months to get married, which is crazy.
Yeah, I know. I remember talking about that years ago with people. I was like, we're kind of shifting toward
big time.
Fall weddings are definitely huge. And like it's made for a very hectic
fall
because there's so few weekends.
Yes.
That's the biggest problem with fall.
That's so interestingly true. I never thought about it from that perspective. Yes, that's so true.
May to August is summer weddings. But for fall, you've got
September, October.
September, I mean, to your point, is usually still summer.
Yeah.
So it's like October, November.
And September is by far still our most popular month, but October is a beyond like neck and neck, like close second over the last couple of years.
So you've got like middle of September to like middle of November.
Yep.
So you've got 6-7 weekends tops.
And some of those weekends are like holiday weekends.
Right.
You know what
Columbus
I mean? So
Day
not
weekend,
everybody is wanting to have it.
Do you want peak foliage? Because then you got 2 or 3 weekends.
Yep.
You're going, I mean, it's absolutely wild how intense and like hyper focused the wedding industry has gotten in fall. And I love it because like I'm there's this one couple that I'm making, the green wedding suit guy. His fiance, they decided what they're going to do to cut certain costs is she works wherever she works. Flowers are always kind of around.
Okay.
And so she's been collecting the flowers and she's going to dry them out.
Oh, that's cool.
And those are going to be the centerpieces. So
that's
she's
fun.
Like, yeah. So she's been working on that for like months, and I love that aspect. So it's going to be very like earthy, richy.
Yep.
They're getting married, I think, in Madison, actually.
Nice.
But yeah.
That's a good segue into talking about a couple of like alternative or more, I know we don't love the word sustainable, but like kind of new age practices from other vendors too, not just clothing. So like you're talking about dried flowers, right? So like flowers are beautiful. You can absolutely, they're quite costly at this point nowadays. And I love a real flower arrangement. Yeah. I do. But at the same time, there are some really cool alternatives coming out. So there's something I had mentioned to you before, Matt, was Something Borrowed Blooms.
Yeah.
Is a company that does fake flowers. They're actually really lovely, because I know people hear fake flowers and they're like, it's going to look real cheesy and cheap. They're not. They look beautiful.
Fake? Is it plastic?
The flowers are made of silk. They're like silk flowers. So you can go online, shop several types of arrangements. Yeah. If you want certain like centerpieces, high, low, this, that, and you can pick and you rent them, and they get shipped to your venue, and they'll be unpacked and fluffed and buffed and all the things, and they look phenomenal. And I was first introduced to them at the White Dress Society. I went to one of their retreats, and they had one of the gals there repping, and they brought the bouquets. Yeah. And they were so cool and just really beautiful for what they are. And it's another means by which you can have a little bit more of a sustainable practice in you're not just like using and disposing of all these things. It's rented, and then they get shipped back to the vendor or back to the the head company. Wow. Another one that's really cool, she's a local gal, but I know that there are obviously more people across the country that do this, is Wooden Word Blooms. Have you heard of them?
No, I haven't.
So an amazing maker. She makes flower arrangements out of wooden flowers.
What?
But they're like little the best way I could describe it is like shavings, almost shavings of wood.
Yeah.
And she does some technique with paint and water, and it like soaks into the wood, and it makes them look, they don't look fully real, but they're so artistic and so unique.
Right, it's more about the artistry.
It's the artistry, and everything is done by hand. So she does them all. She's just incredible. That's awesome. I actually, so I got married, it'll be 11 years ago in September, and we didn't have any of that. Thank you. But my bouquet, one of my big like regrets was I didn't get any of my bouquet to like press or save in a scrapbook or anything like that. And what I wound up doing was I sent her a picture of my bouquet, and she made me a wreath out of wooden flowers that matched the arrangement of my bouquet. It was the coolest thing. Yeah. So that's 10 out of 10. But another, like, again, these are things that you can now keep.
Yeah.
Or you can share along the way. It's just fun, different angles that you can have when you're going through planning your wedding. It's fun to be unique.
Yeah. And how about your existence in the wedding industry?
Okay, so, quick backstory is that I like tripped and fell into the wedding industry. If you would have told me when I was in school, like I loved like tailoring and like hard fabrics and like all the things. If you would have told me I'd be working in evening wear and wedding dresses, I would have like laughed you off the face of the earth. There was no way. And it just so happened that I was working at my cousin's bridal shop, Lustrina Girls Bridal Shop over here in Central Connecticut. And her seamstress, the year I started working, she slipped that winter and she fell and she broke her back and she broke her ankle. And it was awful. And they were kind of freaking out about who on earth was going to sew the wedding dresses, because this woman took care of basically every single client that came to Lustrina. Yeah. And I was like, I know how to use the industrial machines. That's what I went to FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology, and I kind of know my way around it. I don't know bridal from, the broadside of a barn, but if you're willing to teach me. And eventually she decided to take a chance and took me on. And my cousin, like, I always joke, like she came in one day and was like, you're fired. Like, you don't work here anymore. It'll be better for everyone if you go work over here at the tailor shop. And that's what I did. And that's how I started. And by the end of that season, I was taking care of every single one of the wedding dresses. And it was so cool. Yeah. And I really realized there were two things I realized. One was a personal love of the industry.
Yeah.
Something we talked about in episode 1 that you had said you noticed about me was like me calming somebody down in like an intense situation. And I've always kind of taken some pride in having a level head in like all things, like whether it's the most major of situations or minor. And I really found that I had a knack for talking to clients and that they, I don't know if it was age or what, but they just felt like they could open up a bit. And I really had a deep sense of pride in the fact that I could communicate with them or their mothers or their entourage and like kind of calm some of the stress for them. And that was really important to me. And then additionally, like I just grew to love the work. And I realized, wow, you know, when you close your eyes and you tell anyone, like, think of a seamstress or think of a tailor, most people think of somebody over the age of 50, usually over the age of 60. They think of, you know, an immigrant. And these are not bad things. This is just like the stereotype, right? That comes to mind. And so who are the next generation of sewists and sewing professionals and seamstresses? And what are they doing? Where are they? They're hard to come by.
Yeah. And I think that really hits on something we've talked about a lot is that, you know, you and I are that new age, that new definition of what you can do. And I think that's the beautiful part is that it's not all about hunched over a sewing machine and using these old world skills. There is an innovative part of it.
Right.
And that you and I can both be in this industry coming at it from two very different angles and both still be empowering and talking about and telling the stories of makers. And I'm doing it through like my factories and who works with me and who I want to partner with. And you're doing it with the Stitch Collective and even, you know, your employees is like, how do you get down into like the nitty gritty of like what this looks like? It's no longer just this old lady I know who's going to hem the dress. It can be a powerful industry that people can make real jobs and real money from. And I think that is something that we really want to highlight here, you know.
Visibility. It's everything, right? Like if people see it, they can be it. And that's something that I touched on in the last episode is if I could have even the smallest impact, I don't expect everyone to go bust out a sewing machine and learn how to do professional level sewing. But if it's even on the most minor of levels that you can fix your own button and keep your pants in circulation, you know what I mean? Or you don't have to take them to a professional tailor. Or if you just have the consciousness to go take them to a professional tailor and get things fixed up, you know, it's a lot more powerful and meaningful, I think, to the big picture. But the thing that is tragic to me in my industry is that there is a giant generational gap. And I get it, right? Like a lot of our parents and grandparents came to this country and they were looking for us all to have, we'll call it a better life or a more, you know, upper class kind of social standing, we'll call it, and that American dream. And so it was about getting away from hard labor and doing more, you know, higher level office type things and managerial things and, you know, stuff in a different realm. And I think because of that, we skipped the trades at large with a huge part of that middle generation and kind of the elder millennials, we'll call it as well, for my generation. And I think so bringing these arts and these trades in every facet is a huge part of what my life commitment is and bringing that awareness. But I've said to you, like, one of the things I love about my business is like, I just want to put it out there. I just want to put it out there that like, you can have a business. You don't have to just be like working out of your home if you don't, or you can. You can have an amazing, successful business working out of your house if that works for you. Sewing here or there or whenever you want, or taking on bridal clients, taking on prom, taking on men's tailoring. Like there are so many different niches and nuances to this. But so for me, you know, weddings became this perfect outlet because I get to do all these elements that I love. And I like also bigger projects. That's just my personality. So being able to take this big project of a wedding dress and again, reverse engineer it, take things apart, and then put things back together in a way that suits my client so that now going back to the story part, the best thing that anyone could ever say to me at the end is they go, oh my God, it's my dress. It's mine. It didn't feel like it in fitting 1. It felt a little more like it in fitting 2. And by that final fitting, they're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And for some people, it's seeing themselves as, I'll say dramatically, like seeing themselves beautifully for the first time in a very major way. And it's very emotional, and it's very, it's a big deal. It's really cool to be there and facilitate that process. So that's my spot in the wedding industry, is trying to be like that young voice and you know, both bringing awareness to the clients and to people in the public, as well as people who want to be professionals.
Yeah. Now you, as a hard-hitting journalist, have done some research on some facts.
Yes, this is not my research though, but all right. So my source is from The Knot.
Yes.
Now most people who go to get married tend to use a resource like The Knot because it's kind of a one-stop shop. So whatever your opinions are of The Knot at large, we're going to leave all that at the door. I know sometimes it's a very polarizing, topic and outlet, but facts are facts, and they have a huge ability to pull a large number of couples for their wedding. So, all right, let's start.
I think one thing to preface that is that I think it's on there probably, but one of the facts is that 89% of couples use social media and online sources to
plan their wedding. Right?
Wedding. So
what else
like,
do you have anymore? There's no yellow page. You ain't going to the yellow pages.
It's irrelevant whether you like The Knot or not.
Right.
Well, whether you like The Knot or not. But what's important is that that's where people are getting their information.
Right.
The Knot, Zola, Vogue, even just Instagram. People are just going
even if you're getting a referral, let's say you tell me, oh, I recommend so-and-so for X, Y, and Z. The first thing I'm going to do is go online and look them up and see what comes up.
Yeah.
So, I won't always take it on blind faith.
Right.
All right. So here's one of my first statistics. Average guest size for weddings in 2023.
5'11".
Haha. 115 guests. You're such a goober. Oh my God. So let's compare that. So I want to go back. So during the year of COVID, during 2020, the average was 66 wedding guests for obvious reasons.
Wow.
So we're back up to 115. But in 2022, the average was 117. So it's only a couple people down.
Yeah.
But it, I know you and I operate on like feelings, right?
Yeah.
Because we have some statistics to back up our feelings. But what have you seen that in your like conversations with? Yeah,
I definitely
people getting married?
Have a lot of people say we're having a smaller wedding, like that. They lead with that. It's a form of pride that they're breaking with tradition. And it's always, we're having a smaller wedding. And I think that it helps empower the choice to be in front of me, that they want to get a suit or a tuxedo or something that is going to be very individual. So they're like,
meaningful.
I can get a suit that I'm going to wear for 20 years after because we're having a smaller wedding. It doesn't need to be as traditional. It doesn't need to be like a black tuxedo.
Yep.
So this mindset of like, how do we now make everything our own rather than just getting a bunch of florals for the sake of getting florals?
Yep.
Just doing it because, inviting Aunt Gertrude and, whoever else, because my parents need me to.
Right.
How do I make this my own?
Yep.
Now
that's a big thing that came out of COVID, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I remember vivid conversations with clients at that time who were like, you know what? It's just about us getting married.
Yeah.
So everything else is like extra and fluff. And if we can do some fluff, that's great. And now we get to like have a perfect excuse to call out things we don't want to do and just keep it really simple or keep the guest list really small.
Yes.
Which, I feel the frustration for people too, because you're trying to walk that line of balancing, not hurting anybody's feelings either. And emotions run high with weddings just as a general. So it is finding that balance. But so here's a tandem little factoid.
Hit us with the stats.
Hit you with the stats. The cost per guest went from $256 in 2022 to $304 in 2023. Wow. That is almost a $50 per person jump.
That's wild.
It's crazy. So we all know things have been like costing more, overhead is more for people. Like there's a very interesting shift in the economy and the dynamics of all of this. But I think part of a reason why maybe people are having fewer guests is because it costs so damn much.
Yeah.
Weddings are expensive to begin with, but that's a hefty jump.
Yeah. And the average cost of a wedding now is $35,000.
Yes. Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
I have that stat somewhere too in here. But yes, $35,000. And what did we say? The traveling wedding, a destination wedding?
Destination wedding
was more expensive.
Yeah, more expensive.
By only a couple thousand, but.
Yeah, and I think 20% of couples were doing destination.
Here it is. Those who had destination weddings spent an average of $41,000. $35,000 if you stayed around town. Yeah. It's got to be like between travel and accommodations and all that stuff. Yeah. So even if you spare it on the head count.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. So one of the interesting things when we were going through these statistics and facts was, we each did our own research. I went on the Knot, Zola, and then Vogue.
Yep.
And something I thought was very interesting was that the Knot and Zola were all about the wedding couples, and Vogue was about wedding trends based on asking wedding planners what they're hearing from their couples.
So interesting. It's so Vogue of them.
Yes.
It's so definitely. Vogue to ask the planner and not
exactly. Yeah,
and not the customer.
Like they're irrelevant. But one of the things that I thought was it kind of is the baseline for all of this, is that what wedding planners are hearing is they want the anti-wedding. That was the term. That was the term.
That's interesting that they termed it that way, but that makes complete sense.
They want the non-traditional wedding. They want the not wedding dress. They want the not wedding suit.
They want to be an individual.
Right.
At every single turn.
Right. They want the non-traditional dress, which Andy at Muse makes great versions of.
Yep.
She's got a whole company just based on non-traditional weddings.
It's so smart because everything is mix and match. So you guys all go look up Muse Bridal and Lovebird Bridal Shop. She's got a couple different facets to her business. Yeah. Andrea Bird.
Yep.
But you can mix and match which kinds of tops to bottoms.
Yeah.
It's the most brilliant concept.
Yes.
When she was coming up with this, she and I were talking, and I'm like, it makes. Why has no one done this? And she was like, exactly. Why has no one done this?
Yeah. And
so smart.
The huge one that I saw was outfit changes.
Yes.
Big on outfit changes.
Yep.
And I remember, I think my oldest brother and his wife, when they got married, I think at a certain point, she came out in a different outfit. But it was so casual because they were going to leave to their honeymoon.
To go, okay.
She was in like a white jumpsuit or something like that. But there were so many people that, just stayed in their dress the entire time. But now I'm starting to see this whole like reception dress and this whole second.
Oh, and you have to have a rehearsal dinner dress for the day before, then your dress, then your change into. It's a whole thing, maybe even a getting ready thing. Yeah. So one of the things that's been really huge on our end is repurposing the moms' dresses. So that's become like very easy. I'll call it low hanging fruit, but I don't mean that in a negative, but it's a very easy way by which you can have a super unique piece that's just your own. Yeah. You get a little bit of sentimentality. You get to do something good for the environment by repurposing this dress. And they'll make jumpsuits or accessories or whatever. And most people are using it for a rehearsal dinner dress has been the big one. And then we'll get people buying like the little white dress. A lot of companies, I know Jenny Yu as an example, does a whole collection of little white dresses now every season. And they're more fun. Like they have like feathers and tons of pearls and they're like flirty and cute. And they're just an easy, more comfortable way for people to, one, express themselves, but also get a little more comfortable because being like trapped up in a wedding dress in certain styles is not the most comfortable to be in all day and all night. So I get that. On my end, it's becoming, tricky in terms of the workload because we need people now to get in touch with us way earlier than they ever have before. And we need to know, well over it. We are, we're booking 2024, or not booking, we are waitlisting for 2025. So the way my business works is you need to call me right away. We put you down for next year for your wedding date. And if you pay a deposit, like you're secured. If you don't, you're, we can replace you. But by that token, you are securing your spot with us. We ask you a full questionnaire worth of stuff.
Yeah.
And we want to know, did your dress itself come from is it a sample from the floor? Like, how's it fitting off the bat? Do you have a second dress planned? Do you have a rehearsal dinner? Is someone else in your bridal party going to need something? Because people will come in and spring stuff on us, and our services are purely time and talent based. So if we don't have time, we don't have time. There's only so many hours in the day. So we want to help people out, but we can't do it going blind. So we have to have everything pre-planned.
Yeah. And the average length of engagement is 15
months. Yep.
Which I think is very interesting because you book over a year out, which means they should have their dress already, but sometimes they book you without even having their dress. They just know that
they know their date. Yeah.
And so they're like, I'm booking,
which is great because you know you're going to need something in terms of alterations, at least from my perspective.
What like a massive turn is. It's funny because after a lot of brides deal with you, still people leave the custom suit for the guys, or whoever with the custom suit, custom tuxedo is usually an afterthought. But after talking with you and the bridal shop that they're working with, it's over a year, all this, multiple fittings, and when I get the person who's getting
married next week,
I'm like I could do it in like 2 months, 2 fittings, real easy.
Damn.
And they're like, what?
It's just so nice for you, Matt, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, we'll just take our time,
Sitting with those suits.
Yeah, I've got a couple.
You know what, though? I'm going to chalk that up, too, and you correct me if I'm wrong, the fact that you use local.
Yes.
It's a big difference maker because we have folks who are buying, whether you're buying from a super big box wedding dress company or not. The reason why most people need to shop about a year in advance is because these wedding dress manufacturers and design houses are not going to carry and stock. They don't have warehouses filled with gowns. It's a financial liability. So they wait for the dress shop to call them and say, we need to order X dress in size 14 and the wedding is this date. And it usually comes in about 9 months or so. But from that phone call is when they put the dress into production.
Yeah. So it's on-demand, made-to-order business model. So they get the sample in the store, like the Listerina girls. A bride comes in and says, I like this.
Yep.
I need it in my size. They call
these are my measurements,
headquarters, and then they make it right then and there. So that's that business model. Whereas me, it's individual. There's nothing made. It's come in. Let's pick a fabric you like. Let's pick a lining you like. Let's design it all. I take your measurements, and then my factory makes it right then and there for you. There's no preconceived notion or whatever. Yes, you might know what like a suit or a tuxedo looks like, but it can all change, and we can do different things. But I think there is this other concept that is gonna I thought it was interesting on Vogue, which it'll tether you and I together, which is people are putting more effort into their style, and they are actually budgeting for a stylist. Now, this is a kind of a new trend, a day of stylist.
Yeah.
I am so here for this trend. And
I am.
Yes. So we know of a couple people that do this. Beth Chapman does day of styling. Francesca, the stylist of the brides.
Out of New York.
Based out of New York. She does this. Both Beth and Francesca have both hired each of us. Have you worked with Francesca?
I haven't worked for Francesca. Francesca actually subcontracted with me at one point to help Beth out. We had a snafu with someone who was ill, so she was great.
I knew that we've all kind of worked
we've all circulated together.
But this concept of I think the big importance is the longevity of the wedding now. Whereas 30 years ago, it was the photo album only your guests saw if they came over your house and saw the photo album on your coffee table.
100%.
But now the albums and the pictures are on the internet, blasted everywhere. It's the background on your phone. It's your LinkedIn picture. It's on Facebook. It's tagged. It's reshared. Hundreds of thousands of people are going to see your wedding pictures. So it's like, what is that importance? You like the pictures and your outfits are so important now that now people are like, okay, well, I invested so much in my wedding dress. I got to make sure damn well it looks good the day of. Same thing with the groom. I go and I go to these grooms' houses, and I've gone to grooms' houses. I've gone to hotel rooms. I've done all this, traveled all over New England. Francesca and I even went to Baltimore last year for one.
Yeah, I went to Colorado for a wedding.
Yeah. Yep. And I would get there, and every single time I'm like, what would happen if I wasn't here?
Yes.
And it makes me so nervous for the amount of weddings that are happening without me.
Where we're not there.
Not there. It just makes me so
just hire
scared.
us, guys.
Yes.
We're available.
It's so much more worth it to have us there because I'm there. I steam the shirts. I do. I remember this one guy. I steamed all the shirts, I ironed everything, and all the tuxes looked pretty good. So I was just there kind of last minute touch-ups. But what always needs to happen is somebody doesn't know how to tie a tie. Somebody doesn't know how to tie a bow tie.
The bow tie.
So then you're running around scrambling. I'm just like, I'm there to like relieve the pressure. Make sure like if anything goes wrong, there's somebody there who has an answer.
Yep.
One guy put on his shirt, and all of a sudden he's like, we're ready to go take kind of pictures like as a group. And I notice there's red on his shirt.
No.
He had decided to shave his chest. No. And he was bleeding through his shirt. Yes. And we're like sitting, and he was like, this shirt has a stain on it. I was like, bro, no, you're bleeding because you just decided to like raw shave your chest before we got dressed for the wedding. What? I know. So I rip his shirt off.
That's a new one.
And I'm like taking all these, I'm like asking the people. We were at one of the groomsmen's friends' houses. Yeah. And so I'm like, do you have this, and this? And I'm like, got the shirt. I'm doing all this. I'm cleaning it. I clean it. And then we ended up putting like Vaseline on him and then drying it up and like gluing his skin essentially so that it would stop bleeding immediately, because he's gonna like keep moving and all this. So we ended up, because I was like, you can't put like a Band-Aid because it's gonna show through the white shirt. I was like, we need to like seal your skin basically, just like glue it over and then put the shirt on, and got the stains out for the most part, not perfect, because
but even that semi-perfect is better than
and he was wearing a bow tie, so it was all just like
not even like a tie would cover it down the middle.
It was
Good
so
God. You're like,
wild.
put your jacket on and cover up.
I was like, literally what would happen if I wasn't here, or like I think sometimes there is I don't want to confuse correlation with causation. I think sometimes they tell the groomsmen, we have a day of stylists, so bring your outfit as is. Sometimes the guys will
that's true.
Bring their suit in
and
like
it's in a ball.
Literally in like a pillowcase.
And they're like, they'll take care of it. Right. And you're like, would you have shown up this way or not if I wasn't here? Yes, that's true.
Yeah. So I think there is an aspect of that. But there's so many guys where they show up, they don't really know what they're wearing, they don't know.
It's the same for the bridesmaids and stuff too. But to that point, I don't know if they're showing up because they know we're there and they're like, whatever, someone will take care of it, or if it's just like completely slipped their mind that they need to steam their dress. You know what I mean? Like look a little put together. We've dealt with so many things too. I think people are always, there's that misconception I hear on our end all the time, and in talking with Beth, is, you just like seam the dress, like that's what you do. That's you're not even in the ballpark. Right. Like that doesn't even scratch the surface of what we have seen or dealt with. I've fashioned a ring bearer pillow out of like nothing. I have also I've put somebody's button back on. I had a groom rip his sleeve completely. So I've sewn it back up on the spot right before pictures. Like you just never know what kind of stuff is gonna go wrong. And listen, are there plenty of weddings where like barely anything goes wrong or you don't notice? Of course. But like if you're that type of person that wants a little bit more control over the day, that is a worthwhile investment. And you're spending so much money and putting so much stress and effort into making it like perfect. It's never going to be fully perfect. But there's also like the aspect of like, there are things about this that you shouldn't even have to worry about. Right. I'll take care of that. Right. So one thing I notice all the time is during the pictures, family pictures and pictures with the bridal party,
I'm always looking at everybody's picture, everybody, and seeing like their bow ties messed up.
Yes, all the time.
Like one
You're styling
sleeve
every
is
portrait.
all up.
Yep.
And I'm like looking at people's wedding pictures, and I'm like, God, this sucks. Like this is permanent. And like these guys are all messed up. Their pants are this, and I'm there to jump in and clean up everybody as the pictures are going.
This is why a lot of folks have ended up, I'm sorry for interrupting you. This is why a lot of folks have ended up hiring us vis-a-vis planners as well as even photographer suggestions because photographers' job is to take the photos. Yeah. Now, it makes me nuts when I see someone's like little hanger strap and their armpit start to stick out of their gown. Like, cut that stuff off, people. First of all, just PSA, cut it off. But I'm always like, how did nobody notice this? But I do understand, like, a photographer's got a job of taking photos. They're trying to capture moments. They're not always worried about every single element of the styling stuff like you or I would be, or like even the bride might see after the fact. Yeah. They can stop and go, oh man, I wish my train was fluff, or I wish I did this or that, and that bug wasn't on my dress or something. Yeah. So that's what we're there to do is be that like extra set of eyes and keep the pressure off of everybody else so things just go smoothly and it's a good look.
We could talk about the fashion industry for hours, days, weeks,
years,
millennia. But we have about 4 minutes left. So what is something you would say to wedding couples? What's like a takeaway, just being in it, we are seeing these couples on their journey. We're one stop on their Indy 500 going around the track. We're one pit stop. Just taking that into consideration, what's something that you see, what's something you hear, what's something you want people to think about?
That's a good question. So I think the biggest thing that I want couples to just remember is to keep things like for themselves, right? Like just, you're going to hear a lot of noise from people helping you plan, maybe somebody who's helping fund your wedding. And I understand needing to kind of walk a fine line with what maybe certain other people are expecting of your big day. But at the end of the day, like we said during COVID, like it's you two, right? It's your partnership and it's your committing to each other. So the whole day should be reflective of that, of your style, of your uniqueness as a couple, as individuals coming together. And I think when you keep those things in mind, you end up having a better and more fun day. And I think long term, you look back on that day way more fondly. You don't see it or remember any of the bullshit leading up to it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I definitely agree. As a non-married cat dad,
you have no horse in this race, sir.
Exactly. But I have seen so many people, and I usually get them when their guards are so down. Yeah. You know, they come when I get them. They're very much like, it's almost like they get to me. It's like a breather.
They're like waiting to confess. You're like the hairdresser, right? They're ready to tell you all the dirt.
Right. They love telling me about this vendor that pissed them off, or this thing that was overpriced, or this. Because when it comes to the outfit with me, it's pure want. They want this garment. They want to design it from the ground up. They're so about like the possibilities. So I get them being like, oh yeah, well, like I love that I get to choose this because with these people, they kind of box me into this corner. But I think the biggest point is just like zoom out on your wedding day. People are not as focused as you think they are. Like nobody's going to remember whether you had cake or not. People are not going to remember the color of the flowers you have. Like people are not as tuned in and dialed in. As
they remember the feelings more than the details.
Yes. So go after the things that make you feel good, that you want to give people the experience of. Like, I love that there's a trend of unplugged weddings. Like, leave your phones, like no phones, like hire a content creator, let them take it. Liz from the Lucky Share is amazing.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Plug for her, but just enjoy it. And the wedding should just be more focused on like, how is this thing going to last 20 years? Because your wedding is no longer a fun party for your parents and a photo album on your kitchen table. It's celebrated on Facebook and Instagram and all over the internet. And you're going to tag all the vendors and they're going to reshare it. So like that, like, yes, maybe 131 people are coming to your wedding. Thousands of people are going to see your wedding. So feel good in what you're wearing. Feel good in like the flowers and the vendors that you're using. Only work with vendors that you vibe with.
Yes.
You know, don't feel like you have to get something. I know that I'm not married. I've never been engaged. I don't feel a pull for flowers.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing about flowers at my wedding that would make me excited. Okay. But maybe something like those wooden flowers that you were talking about, that is cool. So it's like, that's something like a take on it that I can do where it's like,
how do I put in that little bit of effort to research maybe an alternative or just like find some way of expressing yourself creatively.
Getting something for the sake of getting something, you know, like getting it because it's traditional.
A lot of money to do something like that to get what you get.
Right. Yeah. So just like investing and ask questions. Yeah. I get questions all the time on Instagram. People call me and say, hey, I just, you know, I want to see what like this would cost for X, Y, and Z. Yep. Just ask questions. You know, the biggest thing, that's the point of the internet. Like one of the stats was 90% of couples like use the internet. Just like lean it, double down on it. Yeah. You know, I don't know who the 10% are that aren't using the internet. Like, that's kind of wild, but like just ask questions. Like every vendor, I only want to work with people who want to work with me.
Right.
Like I'm not.
Right. We're not for everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Certain people are not for everybody, and that's why there are so many of us. Yeah,
opening up that dialogue, getting into it, that's always going to help the conversation also. Work with people that you vibe well with. And I think that, again, going with our whole theme of like how things are all woven together, that really comes down to the wedding industry. Like how keeping your feeling as the North Star of the wedding, how is every vendor there who is working for you going to weave together perfectly on your wedding
100%.
And that is a wrap. Episode 2, The Fabric of
America.